Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Kat, your host. Welcome to the Austin Downbeat. I have a great guest for you again this week, episode 67. But first, let's do a rundown of who is playing just a few people each day here in Austin this week. This covers September 5th through the 11th. Let's start on September 5th. Sister Golden Hair is at Saxon Pub. Van Jackson is at the Continental Club. On September 6th, my girl Brittany Lobus is at Guero's Oak Garden outside. Allie Holder is back from her tour, so she's at Sagebrush. And Bruce Hughes is at O4 Center. On the 7th, you have the Buddy Holly birthday extravaganza at Sagebrush. So let me read off some people that are playing. You have Natalie Price, Alex Ruiz, Noivas, Graham Weber, Bruce Smith, Tammy Lynn Gilmore, Katrina Kane, William Wallace, Shawnee Kilgore, and then they tease there's some surprises as well. So that's, again, the Buddy Holly birthday at Sagebrush. Also on the 7th, we have Brian Wolf at Meanwhile Brewing. On the 8th, you have Jessica and the Vanity Project. They are at the Pershing. Tony Camel is at the Saxon Pub, and Van Wilkes is at Shore Raw Bar and Grill. On the 9th, you have Madame Radar at Iron Wolf Ranch and Distillery. Barbara Nesbitt is at Peggy's Porch Party. Peggy's Porch Party is back since it's getting cooler. If you haven't checked out her deal in Cuernavaca, it's so cool. So get tickets for that. Also on the 9th, Ian Moore is going to be out here in my neck of the woods on Lake Travis at the Hill Country Galleria. On September 10th, Austin Mays is at Pootie's. And on the 11th, you have Monday Night Supper Club at El Mercado South and Bob Schneider doing his thing at the Saxon Pub. That does it for the rundown for this week. My guest today is Kelley Mickwee, and we have an awesome conversation about songwriting, teenagers, a day in the life of Kelley and how she kind of moves through her day. She's one of my favorite voices out there. And the good news too is that she's going to be back in the studio very soon to work on a full length album. So that's very exciting. And then we talk about our love of naps. So there's so much in there. We pack a lot in. They're 33 minutes. So I'll let you get to it. It's a good one. I hope you enjoy it. And I'm so glad she came on. I'm a big fan and lover of what she does. And she's just super impressive in person. So enjoy my conversation with Kelley Mickwee. All right. Welcome to the show, Kelley Mickwee.
Hi, it just asked me if I acknowledge that this is being recorded. Got it.
Do you agree?
I agree.
I love it. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm so excited to talk to you. First, just because I love your music, and I was listening to it a bunch today and last week and kind of leading up. And I feel like your voice makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. You know, you're like, ha, I've tricked you.
Nothing is okay.
But you have one of those voices for me as a listener that just feels like you're solid, I'm solid. I feel like you could be delivering the worst news to me in a song or I love when songs break my heart in such a beautiful way. And I feel like you do that because you're such a storyteller.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, most of my songs, there is a good amount of truth in them, whether it be something I've experienced or whoever I'm writing the song with, maybe, bringing in an experience they've had. But the singing part, it's really the one thing out of all this, like out of songwriting and performing and interviewing and posting photos and playing guitar, it's the one thing that like I am really solid in as far as like comfortability wise, so maybe that comes across in a way I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
you
really
just
don't ever struggle or think about my singing because I feel confident and not, it sounds like I'm got a big ego about it, but I just mean like that's the one thing I can not think about and worry about because I'm worried about everything else that I'm doing when I'm up there, you know.
yeah, that might be it. And just also the tone of your voice suits what you sing. You know, something like I don't think maybe I don't know if we think about that very often, but
Yeah.
every once in a while I'll hear someone and I'll go, this is exactly the type of music they should be singing, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it all just kind of lines up. Talk to me a little bit about just how you got started. I'm always fascinated, eternally fascinated with people that do what you do because I feel like it's the most vulnerable, giving thing that a person can do is stand up on a stage and invite us in to kind of listen to your heart. But what was the moment when you were a kid where you're like, oh, okay, I'm really good at this. And I also love it, where those kind of things intersect. Do you recall that moment or that time in your life? Can you kind of tell us about little Kelley?
Yeah, I have a real specific memory of the moment that I started singing, and that is my mom put me in piano lessons when I was a kid because she could tell I was like, you know, like to sing, and I loved to dance around the living room to Madonna and Mariah Carey, and
Yes.
lots of little Kelley videos of me doing that with outfits on and like choreographed moves and stuff.
Oh my
Um,
God. Yes.
so she was like, you know, I'm going to put her in something so she can get more into music. So she put me into piano lessons. And after, I don't know, about a year, I think the piano teacher, well, I don't think I know, I remember this happening. The piano teacher pulled her aside and said, you know, I know you're a single mom and I know you kind of have to choose what you put her in, you know, and time and availability and stuff. And I just want to say that she's a much better singer than she is piano player. It's, you know, I, I, I think that means I was a pretty bad piano player at age 6 and 7, and I still am. But so my mom was like, okay, and my piano teacher, Mrs. Lyons was her name, and she was like, yeah, she's singing along with this music, and she's so focused on the singing, and she's such a great singer for her age, and that's where I think where you know you should lean into that.
Mm.
Uh, that talent. And so she did. So she put me in voice lessons, and I just I took voice lessons for 8 years, both group and solo, and I took dance and went to conservatory and did plays in middle school, and summertime went to acting school and camps, and
Yeah.
then by the time I got to high school, I kind of stopped doing all that, just kind of got into friends and boys and, you know, other high school things.
Hmm.
And
When did your
so,
relationship with storytelling kind of come into play? Because again, you are such a beautiful storyteller in your songs. What's your relationship with that been like, and when did that kind of start?
you know, that was really late in my life. It was I was probably about 30
Oh
when
wow.
I wrote my first song. And
Hmm.
it wasn't until I was in the Trishas, and it also wasn't until I was basically not forced, but asked by the other three girls who were songwriters. We were getting signed to this publishing deal and getting a bunch of attention in Nashville. And
Mhm.
those girls wanted to go write at Warner Chappell, which is a big publishing
Mhm.
company in Nashville. But it was kind of like all four of us or nothing.
Mm.
So it's a bit of I always feel really silly when I tell this story because it makes it sound like I'm not passionate about it. But I hadn't really even considered that I could do it. I didn't necessarily even have a strong desire to write. I just loved to sing and
Mm.
perform. And I had written little pieces here and there of things, but it wasn't until the Trishas and until we got signed that publishing deal. And I don't know if you're familiar with Radney Foster,
Mhm.
a songwriter.
Mhm.
It was my first songwriting session was with him,
Wow.
which is like kind of crazy and unfair. And looking back, I mean, it was a really terrible experience because I was so nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. He's such a pro, and you know what I mean? It was just, I was just thrown into it. And I was thrown into a Nashville songwriting situation, which is different than what I've come to know
Yes.
as my comfortable place.
Mhm.
Um, so it was like, it's all reversed in a way. So as far as the storytelling, I quickly realized in those writing sessions with people that I didn't know, writing about God knows what, um, that I wasn't connecting to them, and I didn't really want to sing them. And there are a few that we wrote back in those days that I still like, but for the most part, it wasn't until I started writing songs with my pals, with the girls, Jamie Lynn or Jason Eady, or close friends, Kevin Welch, like people that I knew really well and felt comfortable and could be
Mhm.
vulnerable with and
Mhm.
not be embarrassed about what dumb line I may throw out, or,
Yeah.
it really wasn't until a few years later when I kind of went, oh, okay, these are the songs that are meaningful. This is what I like to sing about. This is when I'm the most honest. It's kind of the best line.
Yeah.
Like it took me a little bit to figure that out. So like mid-30s, I'd say. And I'm 44. So really feel like I've only been writing songs for about 10 years.
Yeah. Well, nobody really tells you. I just wrote a song with Eric Betancourt, and when we sat down the
Oh,
first
I love
time,
him.
I know. And when we sat down the first time, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, it's this real, nobody really, nobody talks about like what to expect when you sit down with someone. And I think you hit the nail on the head, comfortability, because you have to, if you're gonna dig, you might as well dig deep, and you have to be with somebody that you can dig in front of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
nice to have a relationship where there are no bad, like there's no judgment, there are no bad ideas. Let's just be silly. Let's just say everything that comes to mind and see what sticks. And
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
It is so much fun. And if you've
Yeah.
got someone that will both kind of go down whatever crazy or silly road that may or may not, it may be a dead end.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, having someone that you can talk about a personal experience with, and
Mhm.
so I mean, I'm sure you would say this too, but I've now got a nice little pile of people that
Yeah.
I love to write with, and that I can kind of throw any situation at them, and they're like, okay, let's dig in.
It's
Because
actually really fun. And like, yeah, if a song comes out of it, awesome. And probably, for you, more times than not it does. But isn't there something to be said? And maybe this is with anything really, but the process of doing it is really its own thing too. Just to have an evening of sitting down with someone and being in that space, in your body, in
yeah,
your mind, in that relationship, I think is also kind of a destination as well. Would you agree?
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I I experience both times when I'm like, I hate this so much, so hard.
Yeah.
And mainly that's when I'm sitting down by myself. But it's true when I get in, and maybe I take some pieces of something to someone, or someone brings those pieces to me, and then we can just like back and forth,
Yes,
that's when it gets really fun. Yeah.
it
The
is.
first steps are like, oh, this is so hard.
It's that kindling. I'm always like, okay, where's the kindling? Like,
Yeah,
got to get this fire started.
right. That's right.
I love it. Okay, so I want to talk about your music. You've been putting singles out. Is there an album coming, or where are you at? Because I'm like, I want more and more and more. Where are you at with music, and how can we have more of it?
Um,
Basically.
where I am at is I am kind of in the final stages of doing some pre-production with a guy named David Boyle, great producer, musician, studio owner, engineer. He has Church House Studios here in Austin. I'm in San Marcos, so
You're not in Austin
I
right now.
nailed that.
And
But yeah, he's got a great studio. Anyway, he's going to produce the record for me. So we're we're kind of at the end of here. I'm like, here are all my songs. What do you think?
yeah.
Which ones are go together? Which ones do you not like? Which ones do you like but need fixing? So I'm kind of sitting on some homework right now.
Mhm.
on fixing a few melodies and a few lines and trying to wrap one more up. And so end of September is when we're going in.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I'm going to do a whole new record. And those singles that I did with Jonathan Tyler, they were just kind of their own thing, you
Yeah.
know.
I
It's
wasn't
none of
sure
this.
if it was like,
Yeah.
because sometimes people release in all different ways now, which is kind of cool. So I never know if they're like little leaks off of an album, or sometimes it's just fun just to go in and if you have one, cut it and put it out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the rules are been
It's
thrown
the,
out the window. They don't
it's the
exist.
wild, wild west.
It's the wild, wild west, the wild digital west. But that's okay. I mean, you just got to roll with it. um, and those songs were just like I had them hanging around post pandemic, and I knew I wanted to work with Jonathan, and so it was more affordable for me to do it that way. So I just went in and did two at a time, and then
Yeah.
just released them. And I don't know, there really wasn't really a plan. I ended up doing about 5 with him, so I guess that could have been an EP if I'd have really thought about it ahead of time.
Sure.
But I'm sure a lot of people who interview say that like it's hard to figure out. I'm not going to make any more CDs, like physical copies.
Right.
So the EP thing, I mean, it doesn't really matter,
Doesn't.
Yeah,
It
it's just
doesn't.
interesting. But I do like the dropping a few singles before an album comes out. So I think that's what I'll do with this one. But
Yeah.
we're gonna cut probably 12 songs, and either all 12 will end up on it, or maybe 10, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Talk a little bit about Gold Standard. When I listened to that, I had to look, I was like, there is no way that this isn't an old classic. Seriously, that was the
Yeah.
first time in my mind. I was like, is she covering this song? Like, this has to be. It is so incredible how you made that song to just be like a walk back in time of like the foundational. How did you do that? It's wonderful. It's so
Thank you.
good.
Thank you. That was the intention.
You
So
nailed it.
like those were the exact instructions. I wrote it with Owen Temple, who
Mhm.
was at the top of my list of people that I love to write with. I just had the title for that song, which is it's never the way it goes, right? It's you
Yeah.
title a song most of the time after it's finished. But
Yeah.
um that one we just had the title, or I went to his house one day. We had a writing appointment, and I said, I don't know. I just have this one idea, and I want to write a song called The Gold Standard, and I want to write it as if George and Tammy were
Yes.
still making records, like they would cut it. And he was like, okay.
No pressure. No pressure at all.
No pressure. Exactly. Sometimes simple songs I mean, they can be the hardest ones.
Yes.
But that one was like a 30-minute.
I love
I know, it just happens sometimes. And then sometimes you write a song for years, and
that.
it's so weird how that happens. It was just like the stars were aligned that day, and he was in the right place and I was in the right place, and the idea clicked with him, and whatever was in retrograde, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a day when it was a cool ride. We both left it going like, oh my God, so cool. And I know that this song is pretty good when I want to sing it at a gig. Like my next gig, I want to sing it,
Mhm.
But
It just like the tempo, the cadence, the all of that. It is like you're just unzipping in going back into time. So well done on that song. I just had to bring that one up because I mean it just was like I literally was like, is this? And I Googled Gold Standard.
there
Just
actually might be. I mean, I haven't found one. Like when I was registering the song and stuff with all the digital platforms, I didn't find another song that was gold standard, but
no, but it just and in no way that's like even close to another song, but it really sent me back in time. All of it. You did such a
good.
great job with it. Yeah. I mean, that's why I was like, I just gotta tell her that, because well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're going to be doing, you're going in the end of September to go and record, which is exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
been a long time.
how do you talk to me a little bit about just like a typical day for you as a creative? How, one of the things I like to talk about is just it's valuable to kind of know like how do you balance it all and take care of yourself, and like what's a typical day for you, like how do you like to start your day, how do you like to end your day, and then is there like little tether points in the middle that you do?
Hmm. You mean
Mm.
as far as like being creative in my day
Or
or
just being a human, and then also like where are you creative inside of that?
yeah. Um, well, can't see him, he's laying down here, but I have I'm a dog lady.
Yes.
I have a, a rescue, Morocco is his name. And he's like, what? Are we going outside yet? So yeah, when I wake up, I mean, honestly, it's my first thing I think about is like, where am I going to take him for a walk before it's hot, or where there's water that's
Yeah.
not contaminated or has weird dog killing algae.
Yeah.
Um, like I want to get him exercise so that I can move on with my day, so
Hmm.
chill. So wake up and do whatever version of that doggy exercise thing is. And then make breakfast and then do one exercise thing, like whether it's the sauna, which that isn't really exercise, but you sweat a lot. So it's
Hmm. You.
clearing and cleansing. It feels really good. Or a run, or I go to the Y, or I do a yoga class, or like something midday to get my exercise done for the day. Um, and then I mean, it just depends on the day. Like a lot of times there are sessions that I need to do, or I need to sit down at my computer for a while. I do a lot of I do all the voicings for Sun Radio.
Mhm.
So whenever you hear like a person speaking, 9 times out of 10 it's me. And so I've generally got a few days of the week that I sit down and knock that out. I've been singing on records lately from my house, so I figured out a pretty good way to record myself as a harmony singer at home, like with a good mic and with
Mm.
GarageBand, and I have a good preamp and all the things.
Ah.
So yeah, I mean, walking my dog, exercising myself, making a meal, and then the afternoon. It so depends because lately it's like, this makes me sound so lazy, but it's been so hot that around
Mm.
5 o'clock, I'm like, I need a nap.
Oh,
It's
I love a
nap
nap.
time.
I love.
I love a nap. And like, I don't have kids or, my only job is this. So if there's a day when I can take a nap, I just take a nap.
Yes. Is 5 o'clock too late for a nap, or no,
No,
it's not? How
I
do you
mean,
feel about when you wake up? Well, you're not, it's probably not happening yet, but like, when you take a nap and then you wake up and it's dark, how do you feel about that?
that's the worst. I can't do that.
Yes. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's no good. That makes me feel super weird. No,
Yes.
it's just, I think in the summer, the 5 o'clock nap is okay. And it's like a 45 minute. And then you wake
Mhm.
up and you have 2.5 more hours of daylight left.
Yes.
And you're
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna eat for dinner? What show am I gonna watch tonight?
Yeah.
But the creative part, like the songwriting thing, I have to set aside time to do it.
Hmm.
And a lot lately I've been doing that because I'm want to have the most songs written for David to listen to and choose from. So lately there's definitely been a lot of afternoon kind of pre-nap um looking at the song or starting a new one, and then spending an hour or two of that a day.
Hmm.
I embarrassingly, so I don't spend enough time on that, probably. I mean, I really should, because
Hmm.
some people are so prolific and can just write all day, or maybe they wake up in the morning and do it. I kind of like do the exercise thing in the morning, and then it's kind of like an afternoon is like whether I'm doing Sun Radio stuff or working on a song or booking a gig, or like that's the work hours.
Hmm.
And we nap, and then we have dinner.
And we nap.
And then we watch shows on TV after that.
I love that. How do you, one thing that I struggle with, maybe you have a tip. is like, because my brain is always going, like the creative part of my brain is always going, but I have other things going on and kids and dinner and, like just, and it's hard. I struggle with, if I do get time to sit down, it's really difficult for me to like kind of shift into that gear and go, oh, okay, now I'm going to sit and I'm going to write and I'm going to sit in that brain space of like, trying to paint the walls around a feeling or a moment or a thing of whatever I'm writing about. It's hard for me to transition into
Yeah.
that. Do you
Yeah, I bet.
like how do you do that? You just
Yeah,
make yourself.
I have a really hard time doing that too. You mean how do I transition and if I'm doing it in the middle of the day, kind of a
Yeah,
writing?
like just going from living like human logistics stuff to like
Yeah,
I'm gonna sit down, it's a beautiful afternoon, I'm gonna sit down outside with an iced matcha and I'm gonna write.
yeah.
Like that
Um,
transition is hard.
Understand. Yeah, you just kind of nailed it. Like nature does that for me.
Yeah,
I mean, that
outside.
can
Yeah.
take me out of my daily stuff with my to-do list and my
Yeah.
like gotta run this far, get mode ran
Yeah.
into that mode. Sometimes like it can be just like going on a hike with him somewhere at Emmalong or depending on the year. I mean the time of year.
Yeah.
And then like not looking at my phone and stuff and like getting in that mode,
Hmm.
listening to new music that's come out, and sitting outside. Lately, the last few songs that I've written that I really, really love, have been right after nap time. I sound like such an asshole. After dinner and sitting out on my porch and like listening to like have a bunch of hummingbirds out there right now.
Hmm.
And notice the dragonflies in Austin lately.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
are there so many dragonflies?
They do this. Yeah. It always
I
freaks me out because like when I was pregnant both times with my kids, I would like be mugged by dragonflies. Like they would fly around me. And both times I was like, okay, I must be pregnant? So now I'm
Oh,
like
wow.
dragonflies and I'm like, no. I love dragonflies because they're so special. Like each kid has this like Japanese kite, like dragonfly in their room because it means something to us. But I'm like, no more dragonflies.
Stay away, dragonflies.
I like
Yeah.
panic.
Well, I mean, gosh, I've lived in the house that I live in West Austin now for like 8 years, I think.
Uh-huh.
I have never seen them
Hmm.
as much or as like plentiful as I have this year. I don't know
Oh,
what's up with that.
maybe it's the heat.
Maybe I have like a new dragonfly plant or something that I planted that I don't know is attracting
Oh,
them. I don't know, but anyway, lately it's been really cool to sit out there and read a little bit of poetry and then try to write something after that. But generally, it's an outside situation
yeah.
that's going to get me out of being a human into being a human songwriter.
Yeah. To just sort of like open up the channel and receive. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I guess for you, like if you're doing that at night, I mean, I don't know, maybe sitting out back on the back porch, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's where I do all my writings. I go and I sit outside anyway. But I think sometimes my body's outside, but my brain just kind of needs to like catch up and be
yeah,
and remember it's outside too. Yeah, it can
yeah,
just be hard.
poetry helps.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I also get inspired like when I drive and I'm listening to I listen to Sun Radio a lot. But I just listening to music and maybe
yeah,
I like catch a line and then it reminds me of something and then it's like, oh, like it brings up my own thing. And so I find that actually is a really good little fire starter as
I
well.
understand that. Yeah, that's actually my Owen Temple, who I write a lot with, wrote Gold Standard with. He does that. He's gets a lot of inspiration driving, whether he's driving the kids around or
Yeah.
whatever, listening, and he's got a little notepad like right there. And I mean, he's being safe. He's not doing it while he's driving, but he like writes down just words.
That's what I do.
You
It's
do?
so crazy that I literally have it with like painter's tape. Like I'll do it like a fresh sheet every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, he does too.
yeah, and then or I like, hey Siri, text myself. the line that I'm thinking.
Mhm.
And then,
That's true. That's a modern day way to do
yeah,
that.
I don't like that way as much. I really do love to just, write it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love driving. I'm in the car so much carting these teenagers around that it's like this is where I do all my living.
Right. And
Yeah.
you probably are sitting there waiting on them a lot.
Yes, so wonderful.
Yeah.
One is about to get his driver's license, so I'm just really, really excited about that. Like,
Yay.
like,
Is he excited about driving or is he kind of
he's my cautious kid. He's like firstborn, very cautious, which I love because um, these Texas drivers are kind of crazy. We're from LA. You would think that that would be crazy, but I feel like out here it's just like it's kind of gnarly.
it shifted like I don't know, something shifted about 8 years ago and like people just started driving terribly. I don't know. I remember when I first moved here from Memphis, I was like, oh, finally somewhere where people know how to drive,
Yeah,
feel safe, but I don't know. There's been a shift, probably the population increase and all that.
all those Californians.
I wasn't going to say that, but that's what I was thinking.
Well, I wasn't born in California. I grew up there, but I'm from the East Coast, so I have like a dual situation happening. So
Yeah,
I can rag on the Californians too.
you can. Yeah. How long did you live there?
From 18 to what 10 years ago, so 37. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so like
Right.
I really grew up there. Like 18 on
Right.
my own. I didn't even have my driver's license. I learned to drive, in
In
LA.
LA?
Yeah,
Wow.
405. Like people are shaving and eating cereal and reading the paper like in traffic, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Yes.
Well, I asked you if he was excited about driving because I've
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
seems most 16-year-olds are absolutely not stoked.
Yeah, like I couldn't, well, like I wasn't allowed to drive, so I left home and then eventually I didn't get my license till I was 20, which is
Oh, really?
yeah, which is
That is
crazy.
crazy. That's
Right?
crazy for our age group,
I know. Yeah, because you and I aren't that far apart. Um,
Yeah.
and but my daughter 13 going on 45. I mean, she's probably going to run this country. She is like, she's ready. She's already ready to drive.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
already ready to learn how.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how I was. Yeah, I was bad. I was a bad kid also though.
What do you
A
mean by that?
bad teenager. Well, I'm a pretty bad kid too, actually, now that I think about it. Like I would steal my mom's car and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
got in trouble many times for stealing her car at like 14 and 15.
Oh, wow.
Joyriding around the neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. So bad. One time I actually was sneaking out with the car and I hit the basketball goal in the driveway with the
Oh,
car.
oh no.
You know, I was super stoked about driving, was my point.
Your
So
relationship with your mom, you're at her house now, so it's clearly okay.
she's not here. I was like, will you maybe go? No, we have plans to meet another friend. And so she went early to meet her friend.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
love
yes, it's all okay. I grew out of that. But she was a super strict kind of single mom with a bunch of rules. And
Mm,
I'm not a fan of rules.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
That's what I am. I'm single mom with rules, but also like, I get it. I'm just gonna I
there's
just
some communication.
it's scary. It really is scary,
Yeah.
but lots of communication. I probably communicate too much. They're like, oh my God, stop talking about that. I'm like the mom, like, that just talks about everything. But
That's important though. I mean, you know,
yeah,
for them to feel comfortable to talk back to you and
yes.
share personal stuff. Like that's really important, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know you have to have rules, of course. Um, and sometimes you end up raising a rule follower, and sometimes in my case, like there was so much kickback that I just like went the other way.
Hmm.
know what I mean? Instead of, I don't know.
Yeah.
But all that to say, whatever kind of rules you've got or don't have, like the communication's so important. So
It is. We're
good
gonna
on you for being an
stay on that road.
overthinker.
Yeah, totally. Well, gosh, I'm gonna let you go meet your mom for dinner. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for stopping by and having a chat with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Have
You
we met in person or okay?
know, which is weird because I'm out there, but
Yeah, and
yeah,
you play gigs?
no, I
No,
don't. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
but you write songs.
I write with Eric. I mean, we've just started and we did
Okay.
one song pretty quickly. And we're writing more. I love writing. I used to play music and when I was younger, but I just don't really anymore. But the writing is really what I love. Like that's what's constantly happening in here. And I love collaborating and I love that feeling, in that
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
it's really, really fun. So he
good.
can he can get up on stage and sing it. I don't
Yeah,
want to do that
yeah,
part.
he's good at that too.
Or you can sing it, whatever.
There's a great song I know you know, but Pat Byrne covered one of his songs with
oh, it is,
Bruce Robinson.
yeah, it is what it is. Still it isn't that one.
It's what it is till it isn't. Yeah.
I love that song. Pat does such a great job with it, but it's so fun to see Eric go up, sometimes and they sing it together, like at Peggy's porch party and things like that. It's so fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, next time we're in the same room, please
I
come up
will
immediately.
come grab you and give you a big old hug.
Okay.
Awesome, Kelley. Thanks so much for coming on.
Okay. Thanks, Kat. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, that does it for this episode. We will see you next time. Thanks to Kelley. And that does it. Bye, guys.
Bye.